Warning, this video will contain visual and dialogue spoilers. Watch at your own discretion.
Good morning.
Hey, what's up good people, it's YellowMotion here and welcome to a new Devil May Cry 5 story theory and analysis video. With Devil May Cry 5 just around the corner of its release, I'll be sharing with you my final thoughts and opinions on the story plot and the characters of the game. And at this point guys, I'm not holding back anymore, as I pretty much will be talking and considering every bit of info and media that has officially been known and released so far. And that also includes a bunch of new scenes that were officially selected and released by Capcom, so that the press and media could use them in their preview coverages of Devil May Cry 5 that's been released in early February. So if you've seen them, you're good. But if you only watched the trailers of DMC5 and nothing more, this video will contain visual and dialogue spoilers.
So it is written.
Even though these are official material, it still contains spoilers. But on top of that, also my thoughts, opinions and speculation on several topics that I'm going to cover in this video. So you have been warned here if you want to watch this or not. In this one I'll be talking about the general story of DMC5 and how it all unfolds for the characters. But before we start guys, make sure to like and subscribe to my channel with the notification bell turned on to keep up to date with more DMC5 content. Alright, great, let's get right into it.
This is a trial from the heavens above.
Now, as we all know, the story of Devil May Cry 5 pretty much focuses on three characters, being Nero, Dante and V, and each one of them have their own reasons and their own goals for fighting and wanting to take down the Demon King. But it's actually V who gets both Dante and Nero involved, and to have them a personal score and desire to defeat the Demon King in the first place. So V is pretty much the catalyst that sets up the story in motion.
Listen, I'm gonna find Lady and Trish. Bring him in on this.
What? Come on, you don't think I can handle this gig on my own?
It's a big job. Big job, Dante. You're gonna need the help.
And why does he do that, you may ask? Well, as I do think that V is a creation of Mundus, and he wants to use Dante and eventually Nero to kill the Demon King. And once that happens, V's mission would be complete, and one of the game's plot twists would be that Mundus will come back to rule both the human and the underworld. Want to know more about this theory? Well, I made a separate, long in-depth theory and analysis video explaining and talking about that, by letting you know why V would do that and why I think Mundus will come back. So feel free to watch it, as I won't cover it again in this video and will go straight to the point when needed when I talk about V and his motives. Also guys, as a longtime fan myself, if you thought that Capcom pretty much spoiled half of the game by letting the press play up to Mission 11, well, in a recent interview, Hideaki Itsuno, the director of the game, said that things really start to change and fall into place after Mission 12. And they still have a couple of more surprises nobody knows and has seen, and they can't wait for us fans to experience it very soon. Just to let you know guys. The game will start off with a prologue chapter, where you'll see that Nero is headed towards to the Demon King. When Nero arrives, he sees that Dante is already fighting the Demon King.
What am I doing wasting my time here? He's got this.
And from the looks of it, he's having a very hard time. And as you see, he has lost his Devilbringer arm. But at this time, even though we already know how this has happened, we're not shown the scene yet, as that's been saved for a bit later. Next, we see V coming alongside of Nero that somehow got in touch with him, and pretty convincingly pointing out that it was that demon who took his arm.
You should not underestimate this demon. After all, it was he who took your right arm and gained a great deal of power from it. I'm leaving. I suggest you do not fall behind.
Yeah. Okay, V. You're an interesting guy, but you're right. I've got a score to settle with that son of a bitch.
As in the entire prologue chapter, you only play as Nero.
Hey, thought you took off.
Do you not understand? We cannot hope to do this without you.
That's alright, superstar. Go on with your bad stuff. Go ahead. We got this.
And by the time Nero finally arrives, he sees that Dante has a hard time and loses to the Demon King, along with Lady and Trish that are defeated. And just when the Demon King tries to capture Dante, Nero interferes and tries to settle the score for what he so-called did to his arm.
Well, looks like this won't be a total waste of time after all. Hey, jackass! Did your mother ever teach you it's not nice to steal? Sorry, Dante. I'm back in this bitch.
But he also fails, and the Demon King is far too strong for him. Next, we see that V arrives on the scene, and somehow he is completely shocked to see that both Dante and Nero are defeated, and pretty much don't stand a chance against the Demon King.
This is it. This is the end. It's all over.
He's also surprised to see the Demon King himself, as it's like he didn't quite expect him to seem like that, and senses that he's far too strong than they have ever imagined. There is something interesting to say about this, I'll come back to this later. Dante doesn't give up and gives it a one last shot to defeat the Demon King.
Round 2.
Nero finds out that the Demon King's name is Urizen.
Bastard called me deadweight! I didn't come all this way for nothing!
And once again is told by V that it was him who took his arm.
Stop hitting yourself and think of ways to get stronger and actually help. If Dante loses, you're all that can defeat Urizen.
Is that what you call him?
Yes. Urizen, the Demon King. That's the name of the demon that took your arm.
But remember, at this point, we haven't seen how Nero lost his arm yet. Finally, Dante gives his last shot, but without any luck, as Urizen is far too strong for him and his rebellion sword gets broken. When the prologue is finished, the first set of missions you play as Nero, where he and Nico are set out to Redgrave City, where the demonic invasion has happened. And at this time of their arrival, it's on June the 15th. That's exactly 1 month later since the demonic invasion has happened, as that was on May the 15th. The exact same date as Dante, Trish and Lady were set out to go and kill Urizen, but failed in their mission. I'll show you how this fits a bit later. And at this point, Nero and Nico have several goals in mind. One is to meet up with V so he can help them further in taking out the demon tree and eventually fight against Urizen again, since Nero still has that score to settle for what he so-called did to his arm. And the second one is to rescue Dante, since the last time they saw him was 1 month ago when they were fighting Urizen and the whole place began to tremble and fall apart. And at this point, Nero doesn't even know if Dante is still alive or not.
Yeah, he's real pro at smacking demons around. That's why I built him that well-functioning arm. To kick demon ass. Hey, Psycho! Watch the merchandise!
Hey, stop bitching and take cover!
So Nero is fighting his way through a bunch of demons throughout the first mission, and once after you complete the first mission, and most of the demons are eliminated, Nico tells Nero that it isn't just here, but the invasion has happened in more places. As Nero then realizes and fully believes that it was Yamato that did this, since that man took his arm.
Yamato did this.
We see the flashback, and it's been 2 months ago, on April the 30th, that Nero's arm got ripped off by the cloaked person.
Why do I feel like your pet mechanic? Don't get used to it.
Nico, I showed you those order docs, so you still owe me, remember?
Hey, you two! Dinner's ready!
Be right there! Hey, why don't you go ahead? I'm gonna finish up here.
I'll try to save you some. Not.
You need something? What is it? You hungry? Well, you're in luck, pal, 'cause food's ready and Kitty A always makes too much. Hope you like loud talkers too, 'cause got a pair of those upstairs.
Now you would think that it's pretty random that Nero immediately thinks that the cloaked man is a homeless dude that's hungry, but it makes perfectly sense, and here's why. You see, in the DMC4 novel Deadly Fortune, it is said that Nero and Kyrie stayed in an apartment that they rented, and Kyrie is working every day to cook and to help the people that have lost their homes and family from the incident of Devil May Cry 4. So the pair of loud talkers that Nero is saying aren't their kids, but people they took in, as that's what Nero also immediately assumes when he sees Vergil as the cloaked person. And this also really confirms that all of this has happened in Fortuna City.
You see something you like? What the hell? You a demon?
Nero, the food's getting
Idiot! Get back inside now!
As Nero's Devilbringer starts to glow, the same way as it started to glow when Dante was near him at the beginning of DMC4. And before Nero realizes what's going on, he's suddenly distracted by Kyrie and lets his guard down. That's when Vergil sees a chance and grabs him to rip off his arm. And Vergil starts to speak, and as you can clearly hear, it is his voice, but it's distorted, indicating even more that it is indeed corrupted Vergil.
I'm taking this back.
And I even corrected the pitch so that you can hear it's Dan's voice.
I'm taking this back. I'm taking this back.
There is no mistake about it. The cloaked person is Vergil, as the beacon corrupted Vergil, then recovers his Yamato from it, and opens the gate to the underworld.
I'm running out of time.
Wait!
I'll leave you alone for 2 minutes. What the hell happened?
Remember, at this point, Nero still fully believes V and thinks that it was his arm where Yamato was absorbed that did all of the invasion, including to Redgrave City, believing fully that it was Urizen who took his arm. Back in July of 2018, which is more than a half year ago, I made a fully in-depth character analysis and video talking about Nero and Vergil. And in that video I talked and discussed a lot of things. And all of these were just based on the very first trailer of DMC5, which was the E3 reveal trailer, as we had barely no info about the game, let alone any confirmations. But I was able to cover, analyze and break down several topics and give you my reasons for them, such as show to you that the cloaked man is Vergil but corrupt, and also telling how he has become corrupted and why Vergil is still alive. Also showing you why Vergil ripped Nero's arm for the Yamato and why he needs it and its purpose. Nor does he remember that he had a son or him being a father, as the only person that knows is most likely Dante, and that's why he's the only one that gave the Yamato to Nero, as the confrontation between Nero and Vergil will be unavoidable. If you want to know more about this, you can watch the video here and see what I've exactly said. But I can definitely tell you that most of what I've talked about that has actually happened, as we now pretty much see it in this scene. And it confirms a lot of things, yet opens up some new questions. At least in my opinion, to what's been confirmed is that the cloaked person is indeed Vergil and he is corrupt. This happened in Fortuna City. He was after Yamato and obtained it. Kyrie is still alive and nothing happened to her. And I'm still convinced that Vergil didn't know who Nero was. But he clearly took a look at him and analyzed him to realize that Nero may be just his offspring. And most likely remembered that moment as well that he visited Fortuna City. But he knew he needed to obtain Yamato, and as soon as he had it, we don't see him anymore, or do we? After that, Nero and Nico carry on to meet V at their meeting point, and that's pretty much the mission from the demo where Nero eventually fights Goliath. As after defeating Goliath, V suddenly appears out of nowhere, and judging by Goliath's reaction, it seems that they have met before, and V suddenly betrays him for a reason we don't know yet, as Goliath doesn't get a chance to speak any further, as V kills him with his cane.
Little wanderer, hie thee home.
Thought I was gonna have to pick you out of his, tummy teeth.
Pardon my delay. I was catching up on some reading.
Yeah, looks like a real page-turner.
And as it turns out, there are more tree roots, as they are part of the Qliphoth demon tree, where Nero and V need to destroy them in order to weaken the real big one.
You think Dante's still in there?
If Urizen defeated him, then I expect he's not much more than Qliphoth pollen by now.
A what?
Qliphoth. It's a tree that grows in the underworld. It thrives on human blood, and those whose blood it sucks, well, let's just say they don't turn out too well.
Well, in any case, we need to find out. If Dante's alive, we'll save him. If not, we don't.
Wait. First, we need to exterminate some Qliphoth roots.
V, what the hell are you?
I know, I'm late. Shut it! The roads were all clogged. Hey, you must be V, huh? Hey, you gonna get that? Ding, 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 right by your feet. Ooh-wee! I'm gonna make something amazing out of this.
Did you just sniff that? Do you have any idea where that's been?
Up your butt?
Focus on the mission.
So Nero and V start to split up, and in the meantime, Nero also fights against various bosses, such as Artemis from the library and the big walking creature Gilgamesh. So what happens next? Well, Nero finally meets up with Dante, but is told by him that he can handle this, as Nero wants to prove to him that he's useful and not just dead weight, as Dante called him back during the prologue.
Hey, get Nero out of here! This is a bad move!
I can still fight!
Nero, go! You're just dead weight!
Back up!
Dante, I'm gonna go too. I've got all the power I need. Right here.
And from the looks of it, it has pretty much upset him, as he surely wants to prove that he can stand on his own and fight on his side. Later on, Nero will get a chance to fight against Urizen again, but from the looks of it, he has a hard time defeating him. Now, it's pretty vague to say to what will eventually happen with Nero and if he will defeat Urizen, but I think that two key features will happen in the game. And one of them is that I think that Nero will awaken his true Devil Trigger, as it's also hinted many times during the game. As for one example is Nero's battle team, called Devil Trigger, and the other one is the DMC5 logo, where it appears against Nero's back, foreshadowing his awakening at one point in the game, as the DMC5 logo has many interpretations and meanings, and I think that this is one of them as well. The second thing I think will happen, and is pretty much unavoidable, is that Nero will fight against Vergil. But what has happened to Vergil anyway? Well, there are a lot of things to mention here that raise a lot of questions, and I'd like to discuss them with you right now.
I'm running out of time.
Why is Vergil running out of time, and why did he go back to the underworld? Now, one thing that actually could happen is that Vergil himself is that he sensed a great danger, and for that he went back into the underworld. The danger itself that he sensed could have been Urizen, or something else we don't know yet. Maybe Mundus? Then we come to the second question. Could Vergil really be Urizen, as V says?
After all, it was he who took your right arm and gained a great deal of power from it. Yes, Urizen the Demon King. That's the name of the demon that took your arm.
Well, look, there is a yes and no to this question, as I do think that the chances are that he could have fought against Urizen, but he was such in a weak state that he couldn't stand a chance against them, as pretty much Nero and Dante didn't stand a chance against him either. That way, Urizen could have absorbed him, just like he wanted to capture Dante, when Nero interfered. This is backed up by the similar face design that Urizen has, as it's very reminiscent to Vergil's Devil Trigger design from DMC4, and in that design, Vergil also has green eyes, just like Urizen. And fans also noticed the thing a while ago, that when Urizen speaks and when the voice pitch is corrected, you can hear Dan's voice.
It has begun. I will show you your worst nightmares.
Or in this case, Urizen could have taken Vergil and used him as a vessel for one of the bosses that you later would fight, as we can also see that both Lady and Trish are being taken, and it's been known for now that Trish was inside Cavalier Angelo the whole time. And according to Hideaki Itsuno, Cavalier Angelo was a faulty creation by Mundus, and because of this, it needed some type of base to function, and once it finds one, it becomes a fairly powerful enemy in battle. But look, regarding Vergil, I don't think we'll see him a lot in the game, except at the beginning and at the end, when he's freed after Urizen is defeated. So look, I do think that either Vergil is absorbed by Urizen and he became stronger with it, or Vergil is used for another vessel, just like Trish and Lady are, for another boss that we will later encounter in the game. At the end of the day, I do think that Nero and Vergil will come face to face with each other, and they will most likely fight to settle their differences. But at the same time, at the end, they won't be enemies, once they really find out that they are both father and son. There is also one possibility I want to share, but it's a bit crazy, so bear with me. And that's that Hideaki Itsuno wants to deceive us by making us think that it is Vergil and showing the similarities, but when we are playing the game, he wants to surprise us and see what the actual outcome is. Now the third question I have is, why is V surprised to see Urizen? As to before, he was fully confident, fully slick himself, saying to Nero that it was him who took his arm. This to me means two things. One is that he pretty much doesn't know that Vergil is the one who took Nero's arm, and is seeing a chance to use that incident as a lie and excuse to Nero, so that he can gain his trust, so that Nero can fight on his behalf and achieve V's goals and mission. And even Griffin at one point wonders if Nero could pull off the job by killing Urizen.
So V, you think this kid can kill Urizen?
One can only hope. But for now, we have a more pressing engagement.
So V actually lies to Nero, but coincidentally tells the truth by saying that Urizen is the demon who took his arm, while it's actually Vergil, as V didn't expect to see Urizen in this powered up state and doesn't know what has really happened and what Vergil went to do after he obtained Yamato. As after all, when Vergil ripped off Nero's arm, it was on April the 30th, but when Dante, Trish and Lady headed out for the first time to defeat Urizen, it was on May the 15th. So 2 weeks have passed, as after that there is no Vergil. That's enough time for Urizen to get stronger, after he has fought with Vergil and most likely has won. So what about Dante? How does he fit into the picture, and why is he determined to finish the job to kill Urizen? Well, that I leave for the next video.
Guess I get to see it with my own eyes. If it really is you.
And there you have it, guys, this was my story theory and analysis video for DMC5. I hope you had a good time and enjoyed the video. But the most important thing for me is, what do you guys think of all of this? Why do you think that Vergil is running out of time? And why did he need to go back to the underworld? Do you think Vergil could be really Urizen? And why do you think V is surprised to see Urizen? Do you agree or disagree with my points? Well guys, jump into the comment section below and let's have a great discussion with each other by leaving your own thoughts, theories and speculations. And while you're here guys, why don't you like and share this video, as that helps me greatly, and become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. You can also find me on my social media pages at YellowMotion and on Instagram as well at yellowmotiongaming. Alright, that'll do it for me for this one. Once again guys, thanks a lot for being here and thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you guys in the next Devil May Cry 5 video. Peace.